Hello, everyone. It is good to be here with you tonight. Welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That's me and friends. And my friend tonight is Bryan Hayward. Hi, Bryan. How are you doing? Oh, that's him. Yeah. Anyway, I come to you on Tuesday evenings most of the time, except for the fourth Tuesday of the month. I'll come to you on Tuesday morning. But I come to you on Tuesday evenings. I try to bring in experts or guests that I think that you would find interesting. We talk a little bit about where we're all from. And so if you get the chance, throw in your name, let us know where you're from. If you want to give a weather report or anything like that, ask questions. Just, remember that in the comments, that's your time to talk. Some questions I might pull up on the screen, but I'm just really grateful that you're here today with us. Lipedema Simplified loves reaching out to the community to give you all information that might help you make your life a little bit easier, as you navigate lipedema. It looks to me like right now, so far, I see some of my people that I've met. One I met this last weekend. So we have Anne Marie D'Angelo from New Jersey. Hi, Anne Marie. Jerry Hamill, she is from Pennsylvania. And Sherry Simmons, Sherry and Telly. Hi, Sherry and Telly. It's good to see you. And then we also have Melody from Michigan. So this is a pretty good crowd so far. Yeah. So like Sherry says, South Florida in the house. So I guess South Florida is here. So I'd like to introduce you to Bryan Hayward. I met this young man on December 28th, 2021. I remember that date because it was made such an impact on me when I met him. He's a retired chemical engineer. He works. He started with us with one fireside chat, and he has joined the team. We were all so intrigued by what he has to say about a product that there's a lot of questions about, which is CBD oils. So we were intrigued. He's helped many of the members of our community find relief, and because he tells it like it is. He doesn't hide anything. He flat out will just tell it like it is. So anyways, welcome to the show tonight, Bryan. How are you?
Thanks, Gail. I'm great. And it's nice to see everybody here. And yeah, I got involved with CBD myself because I had a lot of pain. I've got pretty bad arthritis in my hand. You can see they're kind of knurled. And so I've had various problems with arthritis since even teenage years. And so I have arthritis in many of the joints in my body, and the hands particularly have gotten worse, but I've had shoulder replacement, things like that. So anyways, the osteoarthritis that I have, I've been to medical community on the subject, and I had just simply been taking up to 1,200 milligrams a day of Tylenol and 1,200 milligrams of ibuprofen, varying them, trying all different ways to try to reduce the pain in my hands. And when I went to an osteoarthritis specialist at Mass General in Boston, he told me that number one, that I can't keep taking those kind of medications because they're going to, the Tylenol is going to destroy my liver, and the ibuprofen is going to destroy my stomach, and that before long I would be in trouble one way or another with that. And so I wanted to know what else I could do to help with this. There's got to be something you can do about this stuff, right? And that was about, 10 years ago at least. And I periodically, at least once a year, say, is anything new? And the answer keeps coming back. No, there's nothing new. I don't know whether osteoarthritis is just that difficult to deal with, or it's just not worth the trouble to them. I don't know. But anyways, I've just been told you got to live with it. And it's pretty bad. And the doctor said it's very bad. It's as bad as anything he's ever seen. and it's probably not going to get worse. So live with it the way it is, because you really can't do anything about it. And that's kind of where he left it. And I haven't had anything from the medical community that's any different than that since. I don't want to take narcotics and things like that to reduce pain. So anyway, so what happened is a friend of my daughter's, who's a nurse, recommends CBD to her clients and who have pain and arthritis pain in particular, and suggested that I try this particular company. I did. I tried an ointment at first, and I put it on my hands, and within 10 minutes or so, the pain in my hands dropped way down, and I was pretty shocked about that. And so since that time, I've learned a little bit more about CBD, in that I wanted to understand why it works. Because of my technical background, I wanted to understand more about how it actually works. And when I started searching on the internet to find out, all I got was marketing people who, because I have this chemistry background, I could tell that they were using chemical words incorrectly, and that they were just making stuff up as they went. And or maybe they thought they were telling it straight because somebody told them. But anyways, people who were on the internet selling CBD did not know how it worked, which was kind of scary to me. So I started studying it. I found good sources of information through NIH, National Institutes of Health, and Mayo Clinic, and places like that. There are people who study these things and have learned a lot about it. And so I've spent a number of years now trying to learn more and more about CBD. And there's some real good reasons why it works, but there's also some real good reasons why a lot of people who try CBD, it hasn't worked for them, and they spend hundreds of dollars and it doesn't work. So in fact, I think most of the people that are reluctant to use CBD is because they either tried it and it didn't work and they wasted their money, or someone they know has tried it and wasted their money. And Gail was one of those kind of people who she really didn't believe me. And so I just had to be patient with her. I just had to be patient with her. You know how she is. So,
Right.
yeah.
He says that, like, you know how she is. Okay. So most people do have to be patient with me, Bryan, and I really appreciate that they are. And of course, I have to be patient with you too, because you keep talking about it helped with your arthritis pain,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I kept saying, okay, but what about lipedema?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because here's the thing,
Right.
we have
Sorry.
arthritis
Yeah.
pain, and many of us who have lipedema have other kinds of pain
Yep.
as well,
Right.
but
Right.
we have to deal with lipedema, but the story's the same. You were told, live with it.
Right.
We're told, live with it.
And you're
It
told it's your fault.
And we're told it's our fault, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we are. Because many of us with lipedema pain also there's some level of obesity or
Mhm.
quote unquote a fat look about us, right? Even if we are not aren't dealing with obesity, it's a fat disorder. So basically it's all in our head.
Mhm.
Just live with it, you'll figure it out. And so often we can't find answers. And we can't live we can't live a productive life if we're living in pain.
Right.
As you said, you've told me so many times before that you couldn't open a jar. You
Right.
have to get your grandkids to open a jar.
Right.
We have to get our grandkids or our children or our friends or something to make sure they park the car close, or to make sure that they help us upstairs. There's so many things that we deal with that aren't the exact same things that you deal with, but they're similar.
Right. Right.
And my biggest my biggest reluctance was at snake oil. I
Mm-hmm.
just thought, yeah, one thing cannot make a lot of changes, right? One thing just couldn't do it. So I was reluctant to try it,
Sure.
right? And
Yep.
then you did something um you did something that helped me to understand why it might help. You said you were talking about these compounds, the
Mhm.
entourage effect,
Yep.
right? And about different compounds that are inside of the CBD,
Full
the
spectrum.
whole full spectrum, whole flower CBD.
Mhm.
And one of the words that you used was, "This relieves itching." Now, I know that's like the craziest thing, nothing about pain, but you
Mm.
said it can relieve itching, and you had me hooked,
Yeah.
right? And I tried it, and it worked.
Mm.
So, we're gonna come back to where we were because I just got off track. So, you there's something about the products that you sell,
Right.
and we're gonna be right up front. Bryan sells a product, sells it
Mhm.
for same price, less than you can get it otherwise. But there's something about the way you teach about your products and
Mhm.
other products.
Mhm.
So what is it? Do you want me to pull that slide up? Wh
Sure.
what are the things that we need to look for when we look for CBD?
Yeah, I've worked for kind of a long time to try to understand what it is. How can you evaluate CBD? Because I could not tell. All of the information on labels and everything was Greek and not reasonable. So, what I've learned over a period of time is that there are four main quality checks that anybody can perform by looking at the label of a CBD product. And you can tell whether it's a good product or not. Uh, and it doesn't have to be mine, it can be anybody's product. If you look at these four quality checks and the label passes on those quality checks, then you've probably got a good product. So the first thing is full spectrum CBD should be on the label, and it should be those three words in a row. The reason for that is that you can put full spectrum one place on the label and put CBD on another place, and it doesn't mean that it's full spectrum CBD. And I've seen that on labels before. So full spectrum CBD in that order. And what full spectrum means is it the whole flower from the plant, the hemp plant, which comes from cannabis. The whole flower is what you want to pull all of the compounds out of that full flower so that you've got everything that's in there, which isn't just CBD. It's uh, a very small amount of THC, which is like 40% in marijuana. And both of these plants come from the same initial plant, which is cannabis. And they breed cannabis to either have no THC or massive THC. And the breeding for massive THC is where you get marijuana from. And breeding the cannabis plant so that it has very little THC in it is what the government has concluded that particular type of plant can be called hemp, and it has less than 0.3% THC, and you can take as much of it as you want and you won't get high. So one gets you high, the marijuana, and the other one that's bred specifically to not get you high it's non-psychoactive, and that's where CBD comes from. But you want it from the whole flower, not just an isolate of it or a particular area, because there's so many different things that you can say about hemp and they don't do any good for you at all. The key is it should be full spectrum CBD that comes from hemp. So that's the first check. The second check is it should say on the label organic, and it should say either USDA certified or state regulated. Like the state of Massachusetts has very tight regulations on its requirement for organic product for CBD, and Vermont does, and a lot of other states in the United States do. If it doesn't say USDA or state of the United States certified, then you're likely to get open market CBD. And open market CBD is bought from anywhere in the world, and it's whoever sells it at the lowest possible price, not concerned about quality, contamination, any of that. Most of what's sold on the internet comes from outside of the United States and very questionable quality. One study of a very well-known person in our industry company in our industry that does analysis, came up with tested 240 products, the main products that are on sale on the internet. 70% of them had contaminated with heavy metals, pesticides, and a lot of very dangerous things for us. And you can't tell when you're looking at a label unless you know that it says organic, USDA or state of United States certified regulation. And then the next thing is the third thing on there. You want to know what farm it comes from. Everything that I have, I source it from a local farm where I've met the farmers and I've been to their farms, and I see how they produce the product, because it's really important that these farmers are from farm families, generations. They are proud of what they do. They're not a big corporation trying to make cash. And so any product that I have says the name of the farm and where it's located, what state it's in, and you can call these farmers up. You can go to their website and call the farmer and talk to him about his products. And so they're proud of it, and they provide a quality product. And then the fourth thing that should be on the label is you should have information on an independent lab test results, where they have a website address. Their website should show the lab test results. If those four things you can get on a label, then you've probably got a good product. It doesn't have to be mine. It's just you don't want to buy things that doesn't have, for me, I wouldn't buy anything that doesn't pass those four criteria. The other thing that should be on a label is how many milligrams of CBD is in the container. Like, is it 1,000? Is it 1,800? What's in the container? And then how many milligrams of CBD are recommended per dose. That should be on the label too. Almost everyone in the industry recommends 15 to 30 milligrams of CBD for each dose. So it's not really, it doesn't vary all over the place. 15 to 30 milligrams is a normal dose everywhere. And so the reason why you need to know how many milligrams of CBD is in the container is because the next section of that slide over there to the right, at least it's on my right, how much should you pay? That's the other thing about CBD. You can't tell about quality, and you also don't know how much you're supposed to pay. So here's the thing. Throughout the whole industry, everybody that has any kind of a quality product sells CBD at 5 to 10 cents per milligram of CBD. And what that works out to is, if you have a container that says it has 1,000 milligrams of full spectrum CBD in the container, then you should pay $50 to $100 for that. If you pay a lot more or a lot less, there's something wrong. So I wouldn't go outside of those parameters generally. And so if you have 500 milligrams on the container, then it's just half of that amount. So you can figure out quite easily 300 milligrams is $15 to $30. So you can figure out how much you should be paying for CBD by knowing how many milligrams of full spectrum CBD is in the container, and just multiply it by 10 cents. That's the most you should pay. 10 cents, 10% of whatever the milligrams is. So you see 1,000 milligrams, 10 cents on that is 100. So that's the maximum you should pay, 10 cents per milligram. This chart, I'm happy to send it to you. My email address is there, and my phone number is there. You can text me. You can go to the website, or you can email me at Lipedema Simplified, Bryan at lipedema-simplified.org. If you email me, I'll be happy to send that chart to you, so you can go to your local drugstore, which I do regularly, and just check labels out and see what's there. The marketing is very powerful, so don't allow it because it looks really good and they're saying a lot of good things. Just those four things you want to check. If it passes those four things, then you're all right. So that's one more. Why does CBD work for lipedema? Do you know why, Gail?
Yeah, I do actually.
Not so.
So this is the way I understand why CBD helps. But the other thing about CBD is it could be because the inflammation drops, then the rest of our body works better.
It does.
right?
Yeah.
If we have chronic inflammation, because that's what we find, okay, so if we bump our hand and we get a little owie on a knuckle or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? Inflammation rushes in there. Our body sends stuff in there to hold it and to protect it, right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
acute inflammation is. It goes in and protects that area. But with lipedema, we have chronic inflammation, and which means our body's always creating, you know,
Sending signals to the brain to send help, and when the brain sends help,
right,
it
right,
inflames the area, which is what it's supposed to do normally in an acute situation. But when it's chronic, it's constantly doing it, and that has a lot to do with what causes the pain, the
mhm,
fibrosis that develops, all it, it's some of the ladies who have used CBD for a while feel like their fibrosis has gone down some. And there's people online now that have tried it, so they could comment on what their experience with CBD is in the comments. But I know there's a number of people on that have tried CBD and have found it works. And somebody mentioned that they have tried it, and yeah, I
right.
fall in the category, tried it, but it didn't work. And
Yeah,
that,
that's scary.
yeah, most people who tried CBD, it didn't work because most of what's being sold is by people who are trying to make a really high profit, and they're trying to sell lots of quantity of product, and they're not particularly concerned about quality. So you don't really know what you're getting most of the time. And
Right.
that's generally why it doesn't work.
So when we look at um, the products that so I was always confused about, okay, well, what type of CBD do I use? Which product will work best for
Mhm.
me? And then I would go to the website, or I'd go in and I'm like, okay, so this is a spray that'll help me sleep. And so I'd spray it under my tongue and I would sleep well. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's cool, it works. And then I would read it, and what was in it? Oh, there was some CBD isolate, but not very much now that I look back
Right.
at it. But what was really good about it? Oh, look, it's got melatonin in it.
Mm,
So it was just super high priced melatonin,
right. Right.
right? Because the
Mhm.
CBD was an isolate. And so I quit using that. Um, and then I used a roll on one time, and I realized a roll on for I have a knuckle that gives me some fits. And I found that CBD um, ended up it had other products in it. Like, it was like a salon pause. So, really, they were selling it at CBD prices, but it wasn't a good CBD product, it had other stuff with it.
Right.
And so what I like to do now is I like to look at that label, and I like to know what is in my CBD product, right?
Mhm.
And your CBD that you, sell is full spectrum CBD
Mhm.
and a carrier oil,
Right.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's
The
it.
yeah. There's a couple of different ways that people use the CBD. One of the ways is they put it in through their mouth, and that's either a tincture or a capsule, gelatin capsule. In the capsules, you can just take it like you take any pill with water, and the tincture, you just kind of put a small amount of it under your tongue, and not the whole. Gail put a whole dropper in her mouth the first time she tried it, even though there's instructions. But anyways, we don't care about that. Anyway,
Well, remember we've already told the audience,
mm,
you've had to be patient with me.
that's true. Anyway, so so you people usually would only take either a tincture or a capsule. So what you want to know is early on, are you okay with a flavor from a tincture, the taste of that, which can be fairly strong? Oh, here is Anne Marie D'Angelo. Hi, uh, Gail and Bryan. I bought your product and taking it for 2 weeks now, and it seems to be helping, but the AM dose seems to be sedating me. Yeah. The
So
yeah,
she's
some
just taking
people,
it at night now.
yeah, the thing of it is CBD, it's not a sedative. What it is calms people down. One of the effects of CBD, other than reduced inflammation, is that it calms people down. And some people kind of feel like in the morning that they get a little bit sleepy from it. But I take it in the morning and at night, and I don't notice it during the day, but some people do. So yeah, so you may want to take less of it in the morning, or you may want to just do it at night. You want to experiment to see what works for you. And so I've encouraged people generally to start out taking some in the morning and some at night to see if it'll work, because it'll get a steady amount of CBD in your system. So for a couple of weeks, I usually recommend that people try twice a day, once in the morning and once at night, uh, and to see whether it works. And then when the 2 weeks is up, then try cutting back to maybe once a day, either in the morning or at night, depending on which works best for you, and see if it doesn't produce the same results, because CBD can work at a pretty wide range, and there's no need to take extra if you don't need to spend money. You want to try to spend the least amount of money to get the effect that you want. And so you try it at a twice a day dosage. Then if you want to save money, start doing it once a day and see if it works for you. If it does, then you can just stay on that lower level and it'll be great. So that's
Yeah.
the recommended. The other way that people get CBD, rather than through their mouth with a tincture or a capsule, the other way is called topical. And that is a salve. You put a salve on right where it hurts. So that was what happened to me initially. My first thing was a lotion or a salve with CBD in it, and that will physically take away the pain within 10 or 15 minutes for almost everybody that has a inflammation based pain. If your pain is from inflammation, CBD is pretty much always going to help.
And Bryan, I carry a little canister, and I like this. I like the salve that is green. So you have
Mm-hmm.
two salves. You have a salve that is white, or
Yeah.
a lotion that is white, and I personally don't like the smell of it because it's kind of a florally scent,
A
right?
girly scent, a girly scent. And what the heck? Why get that?
Really scent, right?
Jesus.
Okay. And
I want
I
to smell
and
like a tree.
I right. I would rather smell like grass.
Mm.
I like the herbal scents better.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, it's just my preference. I
Mm-hmm.
also love the feel of the green salve. Now, if you guys have ever used like bag balm or that sort of thing, you know what I'm talking about. That green mentholatum scent, that's my favorite.
Mm.
That's my favorite. And so I use it. And yet I know people who like the white lotiony cream. So there's two
Mm-hmm.
different types of
Right.
salve liniment that you sell.
Right.
But I I find that if I have that salve with me, sometimes my hands just ache a little, and I rub
Yeah.
it across my knuckles, and then I forget that my hands are aching. Which is, at first I thought, oh, did I? Oh, I forgot. I have put something on my hands, and so my
Mm.
hands are okay. But I also know that some women in our community have used the salve on their legs. I use it on my feet when I sing because I have to stand on my feet for so long. But you've had a customer who put the salve on before she put her compression on?
Yep. Yep. Because putting compression on for some of the ladies is pretty painful. And so this one lady told me what she tried is she just put the salve, slathered it on her legs, and then she pulled on the garments, and the garments went on much more easily without much pain. And the pain in her legs that she normally dealt with all day long would go for a good 10 hours without having to do any more salve or anything for it. So the salve is relatively inexpensive to use also. So it lasts a long time. So you can use plenty of it and it won't cause you it won't be all that expensive to use. And a lot of the ladies use it on their legs to reduce pain. It will reduce the pain that's caused by inflammation on your legs. I would definitely try that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a question here from Aileen Navarro. She is from Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, "Can you buy CBD over the counter?" Now, can you ship CBD to all 50 states and territories?
You can ship to all 50 states. It's not a problem at all. I don't know about the territories for sure, but I would think they're all under the same kind of guidelines. And so if you want to, if you want me to ship something outside the United States, that's perfectly fine. I'm shipped to Ireland recently, and England, and Italy, Australia.
Right, just not Canada.
Not Canada,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
I'm
because
working on trying to find a way to define what is a high quality product in Canada for CBD. I'm spending some time trying to seek that out because people in Canada need to know, because in Canada it's basically mostly about THC and
right. Well,
most of the
it kind of confused me a little bit because when we went into Canada this summer, they asked us if we had any cannabis products with us.
Mm,
They I think no, maybe they said marijuana. Maybe they said marijuana products because I could truthfully answer no.
mhm,
And so then when we were um in Canada, my daughter's like, "Oh, I gotta get all this smoked, right?" Because it's everywhere. It's
yeah,
everywhere in Vancouver. I mean, it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
everywhere, right? So, of course, then my daughter says to me, I gotta use all this stuff up." And, she said, because we're going back into the United States this afternoon, and I'm thinking, "Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, go for it, girl." They
yeah,
didn't ask us. Coming in from Canada into the United
yeah,
States, they
yeah,
didn't ask us. Going from the United States to Canada, they did.
yep,
And so I know that Canada has the higher regulation on the cannabis, stuff because they sell it.
yeah,
They're regulating what they have coming in.
yep,
So, but like, Anne Marie says that she may be applying for other jobs and concerned about drug testing. So this has very minimal, what'd you say, 0.3% or less THC,
right, yeah, yeah.
but
It's
that
possible,
doesn't mean that you're not gonna have a trace.
right. And I got tested at Mass General, uh, marijuana, THC, all the rest of that stuff, and I take a good bit of it. I take it at least twice a day, and they said there was no sign of it in my end. But I don't. If you've got a job that says clearly, that you you're going to be drug tested, and you can't have any THC in it. I mean, you might want to say to people, "What about using CBD?" And it's, at least if you ask, I don't know. It's like that's the kind of thing that you're going to have to decide for yourself what's okay or not.
Right, right. And as far as being able to buy CBD over the counter,
Hmm.
I guess that would be you don't have to have a prescription for CBD.
Right.
So I
Yep.
guess that makes it over the counter.
You can buy it over the counter, which is where the majority of CBD products are sold over the counter in the United States anyway, and in other countries too. And the thing I would do is, if you're going to look at buying something over the counter, then you want to be sure to have that little graphic that I had up with you, and I'm happy to send it to you so you can just check those four things to see. You want to know that it's full spectrum CBD, that it's organic, USDA certified or state regulated, or geez, at least certified organic somehow. And then the source that it's coming from, the farm where this comes from, is so important to check to see what's on the label as far as the farm it's come from. If it doesn't say what farm it's from the open market around the world without any regulation. So I would only buy from a farm And you want to buy from a local farm. That would be the thing. Get it from a local farm and call the farmer and ask him what he does. Is it organic? Develop a relationship with your local farm providers. That's a great thing to do.
So Bryan, let's say I don't have a local farm, or let's
Mhm.
say I just like you so much I want to buy from you.
Yes.
Um, um, how do I um, how do
Go
I
to
get?
Natural Wellness Boston. That's my
Oh,
website.
oh, Natural Wellness Boston.
Yeah.
Let me pop that.
.com. Yeah. naturalwellnessboston.com. And there are only a few products there. That's another thing too, is when you go on a website and they've got hundreds of products, all these different things, a lot of it is just plain old marketing hype. I only have 3 or 4 products up there. There's a salve, there's a liniment, there's 1,000 milligrams of CBD in it. There's a lotion that's that more girly smell thing that Gail hates, but I love it. And let's see, there's a tincture and there's a gel cap. That's all. I just buy a tincture or gel cap and buy that 1,000 milligram salve is probably the best thing to start with. Either tincture or the gel caps, and then the salve.
Okay, so we have another question up here from Sherry, and I think I think that it's very uh, timely. She
Yeah.
says, what if you are already using cannabis products for pain?
Mm-hmm.
Would the CBD still help?
Well, for example, the cannabis products that you're talking about are probably either regular marijuana that you smoke or gummies. There's a lot of gummies on the market, and that generally the gummies kind of thing that I'm familiar with anyway, 5 to 10 milligrams of CBD per gummy. And people take the gummy because it has the CBD, the THC in it, and they take CBD because it has it. They're the same. The compounds they're both organic compounds. They have carbon and hydrogen atoms in there, and so they're similar molecules. It's just that the THC has a psychoactive effect and the CBD doesn't. And so most of what, if you buy a full spectrum CBD, you're going to get hundreds of compounds. Some of it's CBD, but there's like 99, 100 more CBD type compounds in there that each of them do a little bit different thing. And there's things called terpenes in there that also do different things. Many of them are related to affecting the reduction in inflammation, but a lot of them have to do with relaxation or improved sleep. There's beta-myrcene is a terpene that's in all of the compounds, and beta-myrcene is just kind of makes people sleepy. So the more beta-myrcene that you have in a particular product, the sleepier type of thing it is that you might get. So a lot of the women take the CBD at night because it helps with restless leg syndrome, helps them to relax, reduces the pain. A lot of really good things for helping you get to sleep and stay asleep. And that some people will buy THC gummies to go with it. But generally, like the THC, the cannabis products you're using to try to reduce pain, if they're THC isolates, you probably need the CBD to improve on the pain requirement. So
Right, because because of the anti-inflammatory
right,
response that we have to
right.
CBD. So Aileen Navarro says, and the place where you buy cannabis, do they have CBD? And
Some do, yeah, but
mhm,
most of them have no idea. So you still, even if you're getting it from a dispensary, you want to go to the dispensary, ask them if they have full spectrum CBD products, and use that label thing again. Check the label. Does it say full spectrum CBD? Does it say what farm it's from? Like a lot of the farms around here sell their CBD products to the dispensaries, and they're really high quality products. So There's nothing wrong with buying CBD at a dispensary. That's perfectly fine, but you're not necessarily going to get a good product if you go to a dispensary. They're not technically knowledgeable, at dispensaries as far as like much of anything other than how much THC there is in there. They have marketing hype that they say lots of things, but they really don't. Generally, I don't think I've ever met anybody that in a dispensary, because I get products from my wife at a dispensary. My wife needs THC with the CBD to sleep, and so, and my grandkids go to dispensaries, and they get marijuana-based products. They are THC-based products there. But when I've gone with them and I ask questions, it's very clear that these are just young people who know the jargon, but they do not know technically what the difference from one product to another is. So
Right. And they're trained on their particular products.
mm-hmm.
And most of the time, people are coming into the dispensaries for the marijuana.
Right.
And yes, they do sell CBD as well, and high quality ones, but they don't have the background, especially because they're not researching. You're the researcher who's
Yeah.
researched all this. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that you do sell a product at naturalwellnessboston.com.
Right.
And that you have free shipping inside the United States.
Yep.
And if you can ship it outside the United States, it's a very
$21. Yeah.
$21 to ship something outside the United States.
Mhm.
So get a bigger order, so you don't have to pay the shipping so much if that's a problem. But also at naturalwellnessboston.com, Bryan also has a subscription price. So if you say, "Ooh, I like this," and you sign up for a prescription, then you can also get a discount, and then that's an automatic mailing. Although he does give you a couple of day email that says, "Hey, you know this this is going to ship. Do you still want it?" kind of thing, or do you want to make a change in your order once you figure it out, Bryan? And it's quick. I mean, you're not waiting 3 weeks to get your order. Bryan ships it out within 48 hours. It's in the mail, and it comes to you in the post office. In the U.S. Postal Service. So, if there are any other questions for Bryan, go ahead and put those into the comments. I'm going to bring something up because we've been on this for about 45 minutes, and I do need to bring up another topic. We have an event coming up tomorrow. We have a free webinar, and if you were able to go to our Heart to Heart, the Lipedema Simplified's Heart to Heart last weekend, it's crazy. It's been 10 days. Holy smokes! It feels like it was yesterday. We have a free webinar tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Even if you can't go to it because you're working or sleeping or whatever you do at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, even if you can't attend, register for it for the replays. We are going to have Dr. Raymond Perrin, who was our keynote. He's coming back to present Empowering Wellness, Treating Lipedema, Lymphedema, and the Lymphatics with the Perrin technique. And if you were able to be there, this is groundbreaking. He has a different technique for treating lipedema than we're used to seeing, and this is a massage and other things. And he works with the glymphatics. That's the stuff in the brain, right? The lymphs in the head and the brain, the glymphatics, and he focuses on that. It's going to be fabulous. Invite your MLD therapist or your physician, your primary care. Invite them. It is going to be phenomenal. And so come see us. I am going to put in the comments, I am going to put the registration link. It is so important to register for this if you want to be able to get the replays. Now, with these free webinars, you will get an email confirmation, and you will also get when the replays are ready, you will get a replay link. So just make sure that you get a chance to register for that, and come see us tomorrow. Lipedema Simplified tries to make sure that you have all the information you need to live well, and as best as you can with lipedema. So Bryan just threw me a private chat. He doesn't want me to forget to do this, and I don't blame him. So many of us are used to seeing Bryan here. Bryan comes to see me sometimes once a month, sometimes once every 2 months. But sometimes it takes us 4 or 5 times, 5, 6, 7 times of listening to what Bryan has to say before we go, I'm going to give him a call. So, and I want to talk to Bryan. I want to talk to Bryan about CBD. He takes phone calls, guys. He takes phone calls. He takes texts. He takes email, but he's easy to reach. I don't know very many people who are on a Facebook Live who gives the world their phone number, but this guy does, because he wants, and this is his personal phone number. So don't call him after
9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern. I was going to say midnight. Don't call him after 9 p.m. Eastern. Let Juanita have some sleep, right, Bryan?
That's it. That's it.
We don't care.
I try to talk to several lipedema ladies a week. That's the plan. And so I'm regularly calling people to see how they're doing, and I take phone calls. I'm happy to talk to people. I think it's really important to be able to talk about the pain that you live with and what you might do about it. And usually on a phone call, I'm able to help. I understand.
And Bryan, I just have a question for you. So, do you don't charge for the phone? You don't charge for the consultation, of course not. Do you do FaceTime as well?
Sure. Oh yeah.
So he does FaceTime as well. If you want to look at his cute little mug, again, you can you can always FaceTime him. You can call him. You can email him. You can talk to him. He'll help you pick out a product. He'll help explain everything. And another thing I love about Bryan is he continues to reach out to his customers. I also love that I had some problems today, and I've been working with a company, and all I feel like I'm a number. I'm just a number. And you know how that feels when you can't get customer service. You have questions, you have something you need resolved, and all you get is a recording. That's not what happens with Natural Wellness Boston. That's not what happens with Bryan Hayward. You don't get a recording from him. I mean, he might leave you a voice message, but you don't just get, okay, press 1, okay, press 3. You don't get that with Bryan. You actually get Bryan. And so his customer service is fabulous. I know last year at one point there was we had a really hot summer, and the item that we got had been damaged by the heat in the shipping. I mean, we had it, I don't know, maybe it sat in the mailbox too long before we got it for whatever reason. Summertime, something happened, and we got a damaged product. I sent him a text and said, "This is what happened, Bryan." And 2 days later, I had fresh product. It is,
and that happened for a number of the ladies around the country, because this heat wave thing has been terrible.
right.
They ship it in a truck, and the truck will sit there or sit in your mailbox all day long, and you get up to 30 or 40 degrees in there. So it's
Right. And so when he packages his products so it was a learning experience for him too. And he's had to learn how to, oh, it's summertime. I have to package my product a little differently, wrap it up in stuff to keep it, a little bit more insulated away from the heat. He does everything he can to be the best customer service representatives for himself. And so for those of you who have been nervous about trying CBD, for those of you who think, "Oh, maybe I'll try it," give him a call. Give him a call, and he either can help you make the decision to wait, or he might help you to make the decision of why you should try it now. Um, like I said, it was 2 years ago now in 2021 that
Mm.
I first met him, and he's been hanging around since. So there's, with Lipedema Simplified, we don't bring you stuff and go, "Oh yeah, but it doesn't work," or whatever. We don't bring anybody in that we don't think has some really good information for us. So with that said, Brian, I always is there anything else I need to clarify or let you say?
If you're on medications that could be affected by CBD, I always encourage people to let their doctor know that they're planning to use CBD. Is there any problem with that? And generally, all it is the medication you might be on might go up a little bit, or it might go down a little bit because of the use of CBD, and because that can happen with any uh, product that you're taking. So your
Right.
doctor should know what you're doing for over the counter type medications, which CBD is one of.
Right. And those of you who are on warfarin or Coumadin, you already know because you talk to your um, coagulant, your anti-coag pharmacist all the time about, about your foods or what medications you're taking. That was the big one for
Yep.
one of our community members. She has to go in and make sure that she lets her anti-coag pharmacist know that she's taking CBD so they can watch that. But that's the way it is with all medications and
Yeah. Right.
supplements. You really do need to make sure that you either talk to your pharmacist or talk to your doctor who's prescribed you a medication and talk to them about you wanting to try CBD. Most doctors, from everything that we've been doing, like my husband had open heart surgery in the spring, and they asked him to go off the CBD for 2 weeks before um, his surgery, go off all supplements before his surgery. Right. So, and there's things like that. But as far as right after his surgery, they said, yep, you can start taking your CBD again because doctors are finding that patients are getting relief from CBD. And so they're more than like not going to say, oh, you can't take that. They might tell you, if it works and you like it, take it. Right. So, um, anyway, I, so we have a couple we have a testimony right here, which is pretty cool. It's from, Anne Marie D'Angelo, and she says, "Gail, I second that Brian is amazing, and is so accessible and informative. I reached out to him a couple of times, and he was dedicated to helping me." And then, which is true, Brian is dedicated to helping our community. It's been interesting because Brian doesn't have lipedema, right? But he has dealt with pain.
Mm,
And he knows we deal with pain. He also has been told by doctors, I guess you just gotta live with it.
mm,
And he knows that that's what we're told by doctors. "Yeah, you got it, but good luck taking care of it," right? And so
mm.
we kind of feel like we have no hope. And what Brian has brought to many of us is hope. Hope that we are able to not live in pain. We've had women who can wear their compression more now because it's not painful. We have women like me who don't deal with the restless legs anymore. Restless legs, for people who've never had them, they don't realize how painful that actually is. That our legs jumping all night, right? And twitching and you feel that electric shock in your leg and then we've had a woman who has gained mobility because she doesn't have the pain in her legs like she used to. Another one, what'd you say? She realized she was tapping her knee with a pen or with her finger or something. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm tapping my knee. It wasn't painful anymore. So, so those of us who live in pain from inflammation, it's almost like we'll do almost anything to not be there, right? And when a doctor takes the hope away from us by telling us we just have to live with it. Now, you might not be pain free, but just to lower that pain so it's not always there. It can be worth a try. It can be worth and it's it's worth a shot. So give your give this all thought. That's what I say. Think about it. So
Yeah.
Bryan,
Yeah.
um you know how I end
Yes.
my things. And I know you have a standard, right?
Hmm.
Do you have one that isn't a standard?
I have one that isn't there's only one that's really important in my
Okay,
mind.
so first of all, like my audience knows, I always say if you have one message that you would like echoed around the world, what would it be?
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Lipedema is not your fault.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to realize that more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not fair to be treated like that.
Right. Just like Brian's arthritis in his hands isn't his fault.
Well, that's because yeah, never mind. Bang,
Okay. Yeah.
punching bags.
Punching bags. But the ones in your shoulders and your knees and you know, pain is not our fault.
No,
Lipedema is not our fault.
yeah.
Um, and I like to add on to that. And came from Fiona last week, which was an amazing Tuesday night show. But Fiona said, this is your journey. This is your journey. Nobody else's. You go at your speed, do it your way, get your answers, reach out to your community, be part of it, and know that this is your journey. And then we said something else. And Bryan, I know this probably sounds crazy to you. Celebrate how long you've known that you've had lipedema. You've had it for a very long time, but maybe you've only known for a year. Celebrate that you've known for a year and you have things you can do to help. If you found out yesterday, celebrate you found out because now you can get on your journey, right? Now you have your health journey. And I celebrate you, Bryan. I celebrate you that you've been with us for almost 2 years.
Hmm.
And it's been a journey, hasn't it?
Been great. Yeah, it's been great. But it's
Yeah.
like I really feel for the pain that other people with lipedema. I've got pain, but it's not like what you folks live with. Not at all. So we
Well,
deserve some assistance.
yeah. Bryan, I thank you so much for being here tonight.
Hmm.
I thank the community that's here watching us still. And the people who are watching these as replays know that we're here for you and we know that you're here for us. So with that, I am going to tell you good night unless you are in Australia or New Zealand and I'm going to tell you good morning.
Good morning.
Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day or a wonderful night and we'll see you next Tuesday.